You can get it. Well, Neil Lawrence is a computer scientist at the University of Cambridge. Thank you very much for joining me today. Trump's AI push, let's talk a little bit more about this. It involves deregulation, it involves $90 billion in investments. Is this a game changer, do you think, for the whole industry, or is this just a sense of political theatre?
Well, I suppose it could be both. I think one of the challenges with the conversation around AI is it's becoming increasingly detached from the reality of what regular citizens and customers are experiencing and becoming a very large money investment game. So in that environment, political theatre can be a game changer. Whether it will be a game changer in terms of addressing the needs of citizens around the world, I think is a separate question.
We're looking now at favouring export-friendly policy when it comes to AI, aren't we? How do you think that could reshape global competition, say, for instance, with China or with the EU?
I think it's tricky because when we look at the situation in the United States, where a large amount of the economy now is dependent on these large tech companies that are having a large say in the creation and deployment of these technologies. Let me be very clear, they were not the originators in many cases of these ideas, but they are certainly the deployers. That puts the whole world in a difficult position, including the US government, because what we're talking about is a technology that is going to dominate information channels for the next foreseeable future. That is in the hands of private companies where there is very little regulation. So how that pans out is going to differ depending on whether you're a sort of, as we say in the UK, an AI maker or an AI taker. But the US is certainly an AI maker, and most of the rest of the world outside China is an AI taker at the moment.
Looking at these huge bonuses, $200 million just to sign up to do this work. What do you think this means, and what do you think it will mean for competition and for talent going forward?
Well, it's clearly an absurdity. I mean, we are not talking generational talents like Lionel Messi being paid these amounts of money. This is a fight between these large tech companies for perception of what they believe the AI future will be, which is, as I say, increasingly disconnected from their customers and citizens of the countries which we're hoping this technology serves. But when you get a fight like that and you've got sort of very few tech CEOs arguing about what that future is, and in some sense, competing over a sort of phantasm that they agree about, you can get these sort of unusual effects. Because there is definitely a shortage of such talent. But what we would prefer these companies were doing was supporting the addressing of that shortage and supporting the very difficult work that universities now face in creating a generation of people that can address these works. And, universities being the origin of these innovations in the first place. And I think it represents a significant distortion of how some of our societies are working, that we should be talking about such salaries as a credible idea. Indeed, it demonstrates something dystopian about what these companies view this technology as. I think we need to get something much more serious about a technology that is addressing the needs of regular citizens and is usable and steerable by those citizens.
Neil Lawrence from the University of Cambridge, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.